So Nat, you're one of the tour guides at the Fremantle Prison. That must be a very interesting job.
It's fantastic, actually. It's just so interesting working in a place, getting to deal with people and teaching them about some place that's so important to Fremantle's history and to the history of Western Australia as a total. Yeah.
Now, can you tell us a little bit about the Fremantle Prison?
Well, okay, it was built in the 1850s as a convict establishment, so we got nearly 10,000 convicts over a 16-year period here. Basically in 1849, the West Australian people decided that nothing was being done, no industry, no infrastructure, no agriculture or anything like that. There was only 5,000 European settlers in the whole of Western Australia. And so they commissioned to the British government and said, please send us out some convicts to do the work for us. Basically, over that 16-year period, we got 10,000 convicts. And the first thing they had to do was build their own prison. So the first 75 convicts coming out here were sent up to the hill here. There wasn't a whole lot on the hill, and they had to chisel out of the limestone all of the building blocks for the main cell block there. And so basically it was considered a convict establishment from 1850 right up until 1886. In 1886, they handed over the control of the convict establishment to the Western Australian government. And from that time right up until 1991, it was considered the main maximum security prison in Western Australia.
So you said that it closed down in 1991.
1991.
In 1992 it opened for the tour?
Yep, it opened just a few months later. In October of 1991 it closed, and by about January or February of 1992 we were open and up and running for tours. A few things have changed since then. Just recently we've opened up the tunnels tours.
Can you tell us a little bit about the tunnel tours? I saw them just before and they look very interesting.
Yeah, the tunnel tours are fantastic. Basically we kit people up in harnesses, life jackets, gumboots, hard hats, coveralls, all sorts of things, and get them down 20 metres underground to explore a series of water tunnels that were dug out in the late 1880s.
So let's talk about the gallows.
Everybody's always interested in the gory stuff. You've got to love it. Okay, the gallows.
How many tourists have you actually
How many tourists have we hanged? No tourists.
No
Sometimes
tourists?
very tempting, but no, the gallows here, we were hanging people here right up until 1964, and we hanged 44 people in that time, 43 men and 1 woman. So the only woman to be hanged, her name was Martha Rendell, and she was hanged in 1909 for the murder of her 3 stepchildren. Basically, they were sick and she was trying to help them get better, I guess is one way to put it. Help them get better. She was using hydrochloric acid to swab the backs of their throats.
Now, most executions at the Fremantle Prison occurred on Monday mornings at 8 AM. On the execution day, the condemned person was woken at 5:30 AM, showered and then given breakfast. They were then brought down from death row to this very cell, solitary confinement, where they were kept under constant surveillance. They were then offered the services of a priest or the equivalent, and then given the opportunity for one last glass of whiskey before they died. At the allotted time, the prisoner was escorted from the solitary confinement cell through to the gallows. Their hands and feet were shackled and their head covered in cloth. Once everything was in place, the event happened quite quickly. From the solitary confinement cell through to the gallows where the actual hanging took place, through that door, was only 60 seconds.
It was thought that her trial was a little bit unfair. The whole evil stepmother thing came out, and supposedly it's her ghost that haunts around Fremantle Prison the most because she was unjustly hanged. Whether you believe in ghosts or not, that's up to you. Yeah. I've certainly, after working on the night tours here, I've certainly, and convinced, definitely.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
What happened to make you convinced that there's ghosts?
Oh, okay. Well, we were in 4 Division talking outside Moondyne Joe's cell, and you have your whole tour lined up along the landing there, and you're sort of looking back across the group, and the actors come out and gives everybody a scare, and while they're all talking you sort of stand there watching everybody, making sure everybody's behaving and everything. At the end of it you're like, okay, this is Moondyne Joe's cell, we're going to move on now, we'll go through the division. Now the divisional door is locked and it's usually really easy, like the locks and everything work really well around here. And for some reason it was really stiff and I couldn't get the door open and everything. So my whole attention was fixed on the door and I could hear the railing all rattling in the background, just thinking it was my group. But it was actually the railing on the landing underneath us. That was all like someone was shaking it, but there's nobody there or anything like that. It was so creepy in there.
Nah.
No, it's true. Would I lie to you? No, it's absolutely true. Yep.
Really?
Yep.
You haven't just made these stories
I
up
haven't
for us
made
today?
these stories up. I haven't made these stories up, I promise.
Fantastic. Well, that's some of the stuff that you can expect when you come to the Fremantle Prison. Make sure you come and check it out. Go on one of the tunnel tours and you can meet lovely people like Nat, and she might even make up another story to do with you.
I wouldn't
Check
make
it out.
that up.
Thank you very much for that, Nat.
Don't recall ever touching the ground again. I don't recall ever touching the ground again.